YouTube. I'm plugging YouTube first because it makes the most logical sense that half the world goes to YouTube every day. Again, I'll share with you that story that when I needed to frame in my basement, I didn't technically know how to frame in a basement. I just needed to build 1 or 2 little walls in order to make an office. I didn't want to hire the handyman. And there goes the problem, is the fact that now I'm taking jobs away from the handyman. But I argue that everybody should be a handyman. Okay? There was no person out there that is specified he is an expert in that field. It is only because all others failed to train themselves in that area or found help to get the job done themselves. Okay, so everybody should be on their own independence level. YouTube allows that to happen. Problem is, it's the #1 target. The absolute #1 target besides Facebook is YouTube. It's starting to come around though. You know why? Because sooner or later, the generation that has been blocked all their lives come to power. And those old people are left quaking in their little seats going, oh, I don't understand, this is too much. It's going to be great. And it's starting to happen now. So year 2011, we're starting to realize that we've done some damage to these students by blocking. Here's a tool. Okay, YouTube. Level of organization here has to be pretty grand. Okay, you have modules. All teachers do. They have these paper things. They show the fat cats, and that's how they get funding, and that's how they show that they're doing their job. So here's what I do. In YouTube, when I actually upload a video, I do upload it straight from Camtasia. So first, I do the MOV, like I showed you in the last video, or the video before that. Then I do the standalone version. That goes on CDs or DVDs, and I hand them out to students, okay, beginning of the year. Or I can do it on a monthly basis or whatever. The problem with this is it's going to get costly, very costly. You might want to try thumb drives. All students are required to have maybe a thumb drive, and you can update those thumb drives. Guess what? That takes about 15 to 20 or 30 minutes out of your class time to take all the files and put them on each thumb drive. If you have 20 students, it's really a time inconvenience. Think more digital, okay? So here, I can share right to YouTube. It uploads the clearest version of whatever project that you have to YouTube. It specifies it for YouTube. So a lot of times I'll have, well, maybe even 3 archival versions because I'll keep the project record around and I'll put that. But look at this. This one introduction, which is very short, is 4 gigs. This one introduction would fit on 1 DVD. That's sad. Look at this. There's 18 videos here. So you can see that keeping these around is very costly. It takes a lot of space. Well worth it though if you ever feel like you need a third backup. And they go right to YouTube in the clearest form. So the first thing I usually do is when I got a YouTube channel, I'll go in here and go to my videos and I'll go to playlist. And I break it up via topic. So all teachers have topics. That's universal too. You have chapters, right? You can think of chapters as topics if you wanted to. In math, we have equations, we have calculus, physics, whatever you want. We all have chapters in our life that we have to do weekly basis. So make a playlist, break it down via playlist. That helps. Okay. Another thing I like doing that's been a long time running, and people still ask me today, what's the numbers mean? Well, the numbers are very important. So I got 0104, for example. Notice I named this first with a number. That number is very unique. Okay. The next one is what I'm teaching. It could be Maya, it could be Blender, it could be some 3D packet. And then the next thing is what's introduced into the video. So that way the student can reference it very quickly. And when I upload it to YouTube, it makes logical sense that it goes into an order like that. So here's a new series I've been working on for students that can't afford 3D packets. You know, like there's a packet Maya, it's like $3,000. But then there's freeware applications that you can cover to help new students understand 3D. They're not going to care about your numbering system. They just want to go through your videos. So the numbering system, you have to make it nice for them too. Here's what's really cool is if you give them the other versions, the standalone versions, they sit on your hard drive and they auto-categorize themselves based upon name. So that's a nice thing about the videos with the numbering system. So if it's 0101, it magically floats to the top of the directory. Then the next video is going to be 0200, and et cetera and so forth. So the student now knows, okay, this is the first video, this is the second video, et cetera and so forth. So 01 always stands for my chapter, and the next one, the next two sets of numbers stand for the page. This is chapter 2, this is chapter 2, page 1, 2, 3. Another thing I found very handy is the fact that you include the assignment right into the video. And the reason you do that is because, let's say little Bobby and Susie are gone for a week. I can give them the complete assignment right there on YouTube. I could just say, here's the series, watch video 0200, follow along, and the assignment's at the very end, watch that also. I can't tell you how much better response I've had in the fact that it's all video. Now, I also based upon maybe a little handout, a printout too. Again, that's for the fat cats only. Maybe I'll keep that around and say, here's my paper form. The sad thing is, not everybody understands this stuff, so you have to water it down and don't overwhelm your principal or superintendent until they get the understanding that you know what you're talking about or know what you're doing, okay? So at first, you know, everybody, especially where I work, you know, it looks like you're trying to launch a nuclear weapon half the time, or you might be hacking NASA, or you're causing all kinds of ruckus. And those people that know who they are, they're probably watching this and going, oh, I used to do that to them. But the point here is, don't overwhelm these people. They're in charge for a reason, and they're just doing their job. And once they find that you're doing this for the good of the student, things start happening and magical things start opening, like YouTube. All right, well, that's my spiel of YouTube. I hope that helps. You know, technically I didn't show you very much except for the fact that there's such a thing as playlists. And once you put them in playlist, you can go into your channel, okay? And under video playlist, you can mount those playlists up here. I use a grid view in all playlists, and then it looks like this. Okay, so youtube.com/cannedmushrooms if you're interested, and you can see the latest updates, when have I updated the channel, and then you get users in there. Here's what's going to happen is you're going to get users in there based upon other places of the world, and then it gets kind of scary at times because of the fact that these new users are interacting with your students, but they can't communicate back and forth. So there is no interaction between them. Somebody posts something on this, it doesn't mean they can post something to Bob in your classroom. That's important. All right, so that's YouTube in a nutshell. And let's go on to the next venue, and where we can actually host these files somewhere that's a little less graphical and a little bit more hidden.